let's chat all about middle school science today. Welcome to my channel. My name is Mandy, the Handmade Homeschooler, and today I'm going to give you a more in-depth view and kind of like an update where we are on Apologia's general science. This is a middle grade, middle school level, so grades 6 through 8 level of science for homeschooling. My son is in 7th grade and he is currently, I want to say, a little more than halfway through. We're on module 9 of 14. 14? Yes, 14. So he's on module 9 of 14 right now. And I have to say, I am really impressed by Apologia's general science. General science is one of those classes that I typically don't like to teach. It's usually really boring. I'm not gonna lie. Every general science book I have ever picked up has just been a snooze fest. But I've been really impressed by this one, and actually this is one of my favorite classes to teach this year. I did not see that coming. That really took me by surprise. I usually really dislike science in general. This one has actually been a lot of fun. So I'm gonna give you guys some tips on this one. I'm going to show you a little bit inside, and I'm going to show you what we actually use for this curriculum. So if you are considering this one, it'll help you make more of an informed decision. So overall, this is a very enjoyable curriculum. It's colorful, it's engaging, and it's not overwhelming. It's not one of those science curriculums that has you doing an experiment every day. We have had, it was just 1 year because I could not stand it. We had a science curriculum 1 year, a couple years ago, where there was an experiment every day. And usually by Thursday, I was burnt out. I mean, and some of them were not like heavily involved, but some of them were just, it was overwhelming. I feel like there's a really good balance between book work, book reading, and experiments where they're not doing something crazy every single week even. Usually, like, I want to say it's 1 to 2 experiments per module, so it's not overwhelming and it kind of builds upon itself. The whole Apologia science curriculum pathway, if you want to say, really builds on each other, so they're gradually increasing. So I have found that to be a really good pathway for my kids because, you know, by the time they get to high school, they've already learned how to do the note taking. They've already learned how to do the labs and the lab reports and things like that. So they're used to that. So, you know, it kind of gradually helps the kids learn those skills to where they're not overwhelmed in high school with any of the science stuff. It's just kind of more of what they've been doing. It's just a little bit more advanced each time. So let's look at the basic pieces of this curriculum so you understand more of what I'm talking about here. I'm just gonna move a couple things. Okay, so here's your main textbook. Okay, this is not a hardback book. This is a soft cover, which actually I like a little bit better. It sits better on my lap. It's not super heavy. I have arthritis like really bad in my hands, so I do not like super heavy textbooks. So I really like that this one is a softback book, reads really well. I have had no problem with it being flimsy or falling apart. And then with that, you're gonna have a notebook. Now, you might recognize these. If you're doing Apologia Science for elementary, there are like notebooks and junior notebooks. This is a step above. This is more like the high school level notebooks like my oldest child has. He's been doing Apologia for years, and this is more like the high school notebooks, but they're a little bit easier. So again, it's kind of just like that gradual, you know, pathway up toward, you know, the higher levels. So it's not so cutesy like the elementary notebooks are, but there's still a lot of color, there's still a lot of pictures. You know, there's still a lot of really cool things in here to keep the kids engaged. See, like there's one that actually has, you know, pictures and things on it. And there's a lot of guides. So you will find in the notebook right up here, and it tells them, it gives them like an actual chart of what to do. So up here they have a checklist and they have to check everything off. So it's really teaching them how to use the notebook every single day when they're using and when they're going through their assignments. They have a guide, and it's almost like, you know, someone's holding their hand and guiding them toward the high school higher level things. So it doesn't feel like they've just been thrown into the deep end, you know, where, you know, they were doing the awesome zoology units and things, and now they're like doing big kid science, and my kids love the zoology one. Zoology curriculum is actually what sold us on Apologia in the very beginning, and it was almost sad for us when we finally got to the end with my last child of the zoology, but we went into the next thing, and he was already used to the notebooks. He was very used to those type of things. And then when we got to the higher level here, now we're going, you know, forward, but he's not being like thrown into the middle school curriculum. Now the middle school is technically set grades 7 and 8 for Apologia. So grades 7 and 8 is almost like a transition from that elementary to high school. So you're going to see them holding their hand a little bit, especially in the notebook. It's going to be guiding them and telling them what to do and when to do it. Now, one of the things I highly recommend that you do when you get the notebook is read the pages in the front. The pages in the front are for you and your student to fully understand what to expect in the upcoming pages and in the upcoming year. They're going to tell you all about grading and what things you should be grading and how to grade those things. And, you know, because before they weren't really, you know, they didn't have a whole lot of grades where they were in elementary school and they didn't really need that. But now they're going to start having, you know, tests and things like that where you're going to have to grade them, and they're going to have the study guides and things like that, which brings me to the next thing that you're going to have. You're going to have the test booklet and the answer booklet. Now, these are kind of newer because I don't think they have these for elementary. I think this is just the middle grades and high school. So again, you're transitioning to that high school level. And in this book here, the General Science Solutions and Tests, you're going to have all the answers for the study guides and for the tests. So that's going to be in here. And then this one is just your test booklet. And this one just has all of the tests inside. And the tests are typically made up of the questions from the study guide. So they learn how to study their study guide. But see, if you don't read the pages in the front, then you might be a little lost on some of these things. And I have found that it's vitally important to read those beginning pages because you're going to understand how to teach the curriculum a little bit better to your students. Okay. So the daily schedule also is in the notebook. So a lot of people ask me, do I need the notebook? Do I need all of these things? Yeah, you really need the notebook. It's almost impossible to do a whole lot with it with just a book. I mean, if you really want to make all of the worksheets yourself, you know, and you are just like super homeschool mom, I mean, go for it. But I am not super homeschool mom, so I like having the notebook. And in the notebook, it's going to tell you what to do when. All of the labs are going to be in here for the science experiments. All of the questions are going to be in here. I mean, everything is in this thing right here. You know, your worksheets, the comprehension type of stuff, it's all in here. It is a lot thicker than the elementary ones, the ones that you're used to. This looks much more like the high school level, but it's still, you know, not high school level too. It's not going to overwhelm your kids. It is really a good transition between elementary to high school. So I love that it appeals to scripture everywhere. This is a Christian curriculum, and sometimes when there's differing opinions on interpretations of scripture, like young earth versus old earth, it is going to give both sides of those arguments. It's not going to give you a hard line. This is this. It's going to give you both sides. Some Christians believe this, some Christians believe this, and they'll even talk about, you know, Christian scientists think this and secular scientists think this. And it will give you both sides of an argument for different issues, you know, like the Grand Canyon and the formations of different things. So you are going to get different viewpoints of all kinds of different things. So that is in there, and I did want to make that point. This book is packed with cool information. I have actually really enjoyed prepping this curriculum because when I prep the curriculum, I read the pages, and I have been able to go through this, almost this entire book, and I've read just as far as he has in it, and it is a very interesting book. It has led to all kinds of cool conversations about different things in science and in our Earth and in our solar system and all kinds of things in our house. One of the things that I really like about this textbook is it reads more like a book than a textbook. I know that sounds really strange, I'm sorry, but the way that it's written, it's almost like you're reading a book about science rather than reading a science textbook. Science textbooks, and this is one of the reasons why I detest science textbooks so much, is they're really dry. They're really, really boring. Some subjects are just really boring in science, and in general science, you are getting so many different topics. You're getting everything from weather to chemistry to physics and the solar system, and there's just so many different subjects going on within general science. And I have found that they really make it interesting. They don't give out any like really useless information. Everything in there has a point. Everything appeals back to scripture, and I really, really like how the book is written. I feel like it is written so well. It's written at a pace that I think is great for middle schoolers. My son has really enjoyed it. He really likes science, and he has enjoyed this curriculum himself. He's getting excellent grades on all of his tests and quizzes in here. He hasn't had a problem at all. He actually just took a test today and he got a 93. So I mean, but at the same time, they're only taking one test per module. So he's still getting a test grade, which is good because, you know, we have a cover school and I have to turn in grades. So it's nice that I have something to grade to give to the school. So I like that, you know, that makes my life a lot easier when I have a quiz already pre-made for me that I don't have to make myself or anything like that. I don't even have to think. This is very low prep, which is great. I want to say this is really like open and go. The only thing that you really need to prep are the experiments, and that brings me to my next point. You can call this my science mom hack here. Okay, so this is my Nature's Workshop Plus science lab kit. It's open and it's heavy and I can't really pick it up, so I'm just gonna leave that right there. I love Nature's Workshop Plus. I absolutely love that site. It makes my life so much easier. Can I just say, I was able to get everything for science from Nature's Workshop Plus. So all of this and all of this came together, and they were very generous to actually gift all of this to me this year. And I'm so very thankful that they did that. That was so sweet of them. What I want to show you is the thing that makes my life so much easier from this company. So they have a kit for every single Apologia level, I believe. Okay, so check this out. So there is a Ziploc bag for every single module, and each bag is labeled right here. So this is module 12, and it shows you all of the pieces that are inside, and it will tell you if you need to save anything for a future experiment. And basically every time that kid has an experiment in his book, all I do is run to the closet, grab the bag, and we're good to go. Anything that's not in here is stuff that you already have, like a pot, boiling water, a cup, things like that. I never have to go to the store at the last minute again to get science experiment stuff. Now, I know it's an expense up front, but I have priced this out because I was doing this without the lab kits for years, and I have found I'm saving money by actually getting this thing. And I know this because I did it. I was spending so much money on, you know, different things. It's so much easier just to buy the ready-made lab kit because overall, like price-wise, you're getting a deal. So I have found it is so much easier for me just to get these lab kits. So I will leave a link below for the lab kits for Nature's Workshop Plus. And I've used a couple different kits, and I have found that Nature's Workshop Plus is actually the most organized out of all of them. As far as the way that they pack them and supply lists and things like that, theirs are very well organized. It's like I don't have to think. So between having, you know, kind of your open and go curriculum plus your lab kits already done, This is seriously open and go. I don't have to think about it. I don't really have to do anything. The only thing that I make sure that I do before I teach science is that I look back at my notebook, and because I pre-read the pages so we can have a discussion, I just look at my notebook and I look over my notes and see, you know, what was the topic about? What are questions I want to ask my son to make sure that he comprehended everything? What are some questions he might have? You know, those type of things. I just look over discussion notes. Really, that's it. And I make those boards too. I make the anchor charts. I have a couple videos on my anchor charts. I have those, you know, where I teach the lesson, but that's really it. I love Apologia's general science. We're a bit over halfway, and I'm going to be sad when we get to module 14 and we're going to be done for the year. But all good things must come to an end, and then we get to do something else. So, you know, I think he's excited for whatever's next too. So what are your middle schoolers doing for science? I would love to know. And have you tried any of these? I love the zoology. I feel like I have done almost all of the curriculum options from Apologia at this point, having an 11th grader and a 7th grader who have been in Apologia for years. I feel like I have done almost everything. You know, the only one that I haven't done is anatomy. So we've done so many different things with Apologia. I really enjoy them. I think they're a great company. They have so many cool different options. We even did their health curriculum last year with my 10th grader. That was a great one too, and that one was an elective course. There's so many different options that they have now, so highly recommend it. Go check out Apologia. Go check out these lab kits. I'll leave the links down below for them. And that's it for today. I hope you guys enjoyed the video, and I will see you in the next one. I hope you have a great rest of your day, and happy homeschooling.